Hello, everyone. My name is Rye. You may not know me if you're coming from the Final Fantasy XIV community, but I'm more of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links streamer and content creator. Definitely go check out my other channel. I'll have it linked somewhere here. Relatively large in that scene, but not as large here in the Final Fantasy scene. But starting my alternate account, I wanted to include other games, Final Fantasy XIV being one of those games. Final Fantasy XIV was actually the game I pretty much no-lifed before Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, so, it holds a little special place in my heart. I used to play this game really hardcore back in the day. I played this, primarily as a raider. I played hardcore, casual, and midcore. I played this game in all different avenues that you could possibly play this game, at least from a raider's perspective. So I just wanted to take some time and kind of do a little bit of a mini review of each class. I did take a large break in Shadowbringers. I pretty much played every single expansion, as my primary game up until Shadowbringers came out. I took a very long break in Shadowbringers and only came back for the final raid tier, so I didn't really experience much of what happened in Shadowbringers up until recently. So I'm hoping to get back into it, hoping to start making content for Final Fantasy XIV. This video is primarily more because, I do have a lot of knowledge when it comes to the classes, because I've done, in the past, I've cleared raid tiers with all the different roles, a bunch of different classes, through pugs, new pugs and new groups, people that don't have much knowledge about the fights. So I do know a lot about the classes, but admittedly, I'm not the best player in the world, obviously, especially with taking a break. There are definitely better content creators out there if you're looking for a more accurate representation of each class, but I'll try my best from knowledge and from reading the class changes that came out from the NDA lifting. Now I'm gonna play the trailer for the Endwalker classes just to have something in the back, because we do have a few viewers coming over from my Duel Links channel, and for those viewers specifically, they don't know what Final Fantasy is about, so we're gonna kind of show them and go from there, and then kind of talk about all the classes individually, and just kind of my thoughts and feelings going to Endwalker with every class. Also gotta say, this trailer, the whole media team in Final Fantasy is just top tier. Alright, Dragoon. Love me some Dragoon. Look at that. The eye gauge too, having the permanent eye, really nice for Dragoon. Yeah, I mean, I just love how Final Fantasy XIV can capture I guess the aesthetics of the spirit of all the classes, right? Like Dragoon, if you played a bunch of Final Fantasies, it's always been based around the jumping, right? And they just capture that so well. And Dragoon's always just been kind of been that solid class that comes from Final Fantasy XIV specifically. I think there was that one patch in Heaven's Ward where they weren't that great, but they slowly got buffed patch after patch after patch, and ever since then they've just been a solid melee class. No real issues. Really good on the raid spot too, having all those buffs. It's like the perfect middle ground of being personal DPS and a buffer. Warrior, this has been Square Enix's favored son, dude. They you can never have a patch with a bad warrior. I think there was one patch where they were not so great, and just the next patch over, Square Enix buffed the crap out of them. Pretty cool. I mean, animations are really nice. The charge having no rage is really nice too. Ground slam. Alright. I watched this trailer when it was live, when it happened live, but this is the first time I'm really looking at all the classes. There's Felcleave, that's still the same, nothing too crazy there. 3... Big more AoE. Yeah, Warrior. Warrior's always just been the solid tank, right? Warrior's got like the big HP pool, the main tank, if you will. Home Gang is really cool. I think they changed Home Gang 2 now, if I'm not mistaken. Where you can like move around and stuff with it, so it's even better. It has the lowest cooldown. I don't know if they're changing the cooldowns for all the big defensive cooldowns, but Warrior's always just been a solid tank. There's never been a meta where you don't use the Warrior as one of your tanks. Red Mage. Red Mage like changed the scene for raiding in Final Fantasy 14. The resurrection, basically for just every turn free rezzing, is really nice for progression anyway. And I just like Red Mage because like one of those classes, it's really easy to get into. Dang, look at those. Woo. Look at these animations. Look at that. Look like a barrier. Okay. It's just an easy class to get into, but it's hard to master, which I feel like pretty much shares a lot with like how Stormblood was with the classes. Always so flashy. Look at him, dude. Woo! Look at that. That was cool. That was cool. Okay. So, right now I main Samurai, but before I main Samurai, I main Scholar, and before Scholar, Astro, before Astro, White Mage. So, the reason I kind of stopped playing Scholar is I wasn't a big, oh god, I wasn't a big fan of Scholar going into Shadowbringers, taking away energy drain, and all these, like, things. They gave energy drain back, and then, like, the new fairy system, and just the AI system in general, and the game is really lackluster. Not even lackluster, it's just clumsy, and it's not good. So, I don't know, whoever... Like, they didn't do a good job representing the Scholar, man. Like, oh, man. Like, it's just, like, they're not really showing anything cool, you know? Compared, like, all the other healers got cool things. I don't know. And you know the saddest part? Oh, God. Oh, God. It's... I forgot about this part. Look at him. Look at him go, dude! Hey! The saddest part about all this is Scholar will probably still be played, you know, because it's got like that raid DPS increase with stratagem and stuff. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I remember reading over the patches for Sage. I don't remember seeing any sort of like AoE party damage increase. So I don't know if Sage is going to do enough damage to kind of out DPS, like, you know, the Scholar's ability to raid increased damage. Now for Prog, it's, you know, it'll be fine. You can use whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Scholar, I just wish they had more, because the class is so clunky and weird, but at the same time kind of mandatory to bring because of their buffs. And I guess now the AoE speed buff might actually be nice for mechanics. I don't know. I just wish they had more, dude. I stopped playing Scholar and Shadowbringers, and I tried going back lately to test them out, and it still feels super clunky. I'm not a big fan of it. Very sad for my old main. Dark Knight, oh baby. Dark Knight looks kind of similar to how I remember it when they had like the Phase, I think it's called. The spirit that came with it. They have more AoE, I know that. Way more AoE now. And in general, I guess every class is better AoE. Looks like a better Blackest Knight. Whew. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about Dark Knight. They've always been kind of in weird spots when it comes to balance. I think they're fine right now, but all the tanks kind of feel samey a little bit, so I don't know if it really matters. I will say, though, Dark Knight has some of the coolest animations when it, well, up until the Endwalker trailer, had some of the coolest animations as far as tanks go. Dancer, oh man. I probably know the least about the range DPS because Dancer came out and like killed all the other ones. I swear to God, dude. Dancer, like, I love and hate it, because I hate it because it did that, but I love it because getting a Dancer buff on my Samurai, my damage just goes insane, you know what I mean? Damn, that actually looks pretty cool. Looks like they mostly gave them, oh, nope, that looks like some sort of, oh, no. The healing Samba or whatever. Yeah, it's got like an addition to it. Okay, okay. It looks pretty much the same. Doesn't look like it did any major differences to it. Machinist, yeah. So this Machinist has always been kind of like the burst range damage dealer. But like, I have not encountered a single Machinist, which is really bad. Like, look at all these cool animations they have, right? But like, no one play. This has to be like the least played range DPS. Dancer just killed, like, the whole role. I don't know, man. It's just so much better than everything else. It's got the Queen. The Queen goes in, does a bunch of extra damage. Pretty cool. Hopefully the changes, man, they can make Machinists come back, because it's a cool class, but, yeah. I don't know. They need to bring more personal DPS than the DPS a Dancer gives, you know? Gunbreaker! This is for DPS that don't want to actually tank, but they have to tank. You play Gunbreaker, dude. I believe they have their version of Excognation now, which is when your HP drops below a certain percentage, you get healed. Which is good, because you're probably going to see less Scholars in Endwalker for them. Third cartridge, too. Instead of just having 2, they have 3 now. Pretty cool. Yeah, Gunbreaker's always just been like that, the busy damage dealing tank, right? Focused on just doing your DPS rotation. That's kind of your go-to. Seriously, if you don't tank and you play primarily DPS, go check out Gunbreaker. You're probably gonna like it. Bard. Now Bard, they gave Bard some nice tools. You can see on the Wanderer's Minute there, the 3 symbols. It's kind of like the Monster Hunter symbols for completing all the songs. I have more faith in Bard kind of outperforming Machinist right now. If I had to guess, it'll be Dancer, Bard, then Machinist. Just from the skill descriptions that I read. Man, you guys remember in Heaven's Ward when you had to cast everything? It'd be bad times. Astrologian. Okay. One thing I've always hated is the fact that they changed all the cards to just straight damage increases. I get that you never really use the other cards, but I wish they just buffed all the other cards to make them more useful when it came to Astro. I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh yeah, and then they took the I forget what it's called, but the AoE buff, Divination, I think it was called. They made that easier to do as well. You don't have to do like a long pull time for Astro anymore, which is nice. Pretty cool. I think they also said all the healers are gonna get a reduced global cooldown on like some of their casting skills, which is nice for double weaving and stuff. So that's gonna be nice. Oh, that skill looks sick. What was that? Got a heal that you put on your target. Okay. Healing's always been kind of jank in Final Fantasy XIV. Ah, here we go, boys. Samurai. Funny thing about Samurai is they got it so right on their first attempt in Stormblood that the class doesn't really change. Like, it doesn't change a whole lot. What changes is like the intricacies of it, right? Like right now, what's super important is making sure to use your I forget what it's called, but the double Madare like on cooldown. I mean, using all your off globals on cooldown, but that one being the most important. So, you know, having to do things like a filler rotation and stuff until you get to that point. But now we have 2 charges, I think they call them. So that isn't like super, I mean, it's still probably going to be important to do it, but if you mess up, like you're fine, you'll be able to recover much simpler. You'll just be outside of raid buffs and stuff. So it looks like they just kind of gave them a lot of quality of life changes and then added a few, you know, high damaging skills at the same time. I love Samurai, dude. This class, it's super easy to get into, but it is hard to like master. And it's super greedy DPS. Yeah, they gave this skill a charge too, the being able to get all your stacks and stuff. Midare. And it's got the new Midare too, right? The shush. Here it is, this one. Show it to me. Boom! Boom! Oh my goodness. I think what's interesting too is they also said they're going to nerf a little bit of the potencies, so I wonder how the damage will actually look if like all that nerf potency just goes into the new skill to increase damage, you know? It's kind of my my thing with Samurai. White Mage. White Mage is like the philosophy of Final Fantasy XIV healer. Like, they're not healers. They are DPS that heal when they need to. Stop DPSing to heal when you need to. You know what I mean? And White Mage is like the personification of that. Heavy heals, heavy damage. And it looks like they're doing pretty much the same with Endwalker. They did give them like a fountain, a totem, I guess. That's pretty cool, actually. Just more off-global healing, off-global shielding, buffed off-global shielding. And blood for the blood gods, dude. Jeez. Is that a new Holy? Oh my lord. Holy 2? Yeah. Oh man, Ninja. They're changing Ninja up quite significantly too. I'm actually really interested how Ninja will look, because I was never a fan of like the Mudra delays and stuff. And I know they're going to be adjusting that. And I've never been a fan of being like the support DPS. You know, I've always been wanting to be like a high damage DPS. So I'm going to be interested to see if Ninja, like how much they're going to change it. Like how much is the damage going to change? Are they still going to be like on the lower end of the damage scales? Because I've always wanted to play this class, but you know, due to like input delay and stuff like that, I've always been turned off from it. Because it looks so cool. Listen, man. Listen, man, any weeb, where are my weebs at? Come on, look at this. Oh, Lord. Wait until he does the double shadow clone. Oh, look at that, it's so sick. God. Shidori! Oh, it's not Shidori, this is Shidori. There you go. It just looks so cool. I really hope that the Ninja changes make them a little bit more interesting to play. Because I'd definitely be down to play it. Black Mage. Basically Samurai with no mobility. Let's go. Black Mage is so weird because it's like when you have one, your entire raid group has to play around them because they just do that much damage, right? But at the same time, it's kind of like... I don't really see groups prog with a Black Mage ever. It's hard to. It's so hard. It happens, but it's so hard to prog with one, man. They did nail the Black Mage fantasy, though. Like, this is what Black Mages want to do. They just want to sit here and just fuck the boss up, you know? And to be honest, in a personal skill cap manner, that like finding times to cast and have like highest DPS is like one of the highest skill caps you can have, I think. in like MMOs that have like this traditional tab target style. So whenever you see a good black mage, they're probably like a player that knows their shit, right? Most likely. God, that's so cool. Triple cast still being in there. Triple cast flare, baby. Huge damage. I played Black Mage for a while. I was gonna main it as my main caster, but I already played Samurai, you know? Sage! Oh boy, the new Scholar. It's gonna be weird, like, I don't know, because Sage seems to be kind of like the greedy shield user. I think that's what they're trying to do. Like, White Mage is the greedy region healer. Astro is the more team-oriented one. Sage is the greedy, or I'm sorry, region healer for White Mage and Astro, and shield healer for Sage and Scholar. And Sage is supposed to be like the more greedy one, and Scholar is the oh, that's so cool. It's supposed to be the raid helper one. I gotta say, man, from a visual perspective, Sage is like the coolest healer, right? Like, that's just fucking sick, you know? Oh my god, Gundam looking head ass. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the healer meta is gonna look like, because I don't think any of those skills were like a party buff. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. So, you know, as long as the Final Fantasy's always been like around like the party buffs, you know? So as long as Scholar has that over them, even if they're clunky and not fun to play whatsoever, they just have that inherent goodness to them, you know? So we'll kind of see Monk. Oh, man. Monk is super weird because they messed them up pretty bad in Shadowbringer, I feel. They gave them a skill that, like, was based on the server ticks. I mean, they've changed it now. It's not like that anymore. But that was pretty brutal to see. But the buffs that I've seen for Monk, the chakrams, gaining way more of them, being able to go off skills too, I don't know, like they just look so much better. Like it looks like they did a very, very good job changing up the Monk class, and hopefully it's good again, because the amount of work you have to put in to play Monk is way more than like all the other melees, I feel. And it's the least rewarding when you get it right. Like, you know, the hardest trying Monk will get out DPS'd by like a samurai that's just like watching Netflix on the side. It feels like. So hopefully they adjust them. Summoner, dude, Summoner is actually the class. I know they have like Paladin and like all the new classes, but this is basically another new class. This is the face of the expansion right here. Summoners were never actually summoners. They were like damage over time casters, I guess. But now they're actually summoners, and I think that's super sick. To the point where I kind of want to play this, and I don't really like casters to begin with. Look at that. Garuda. And I like, too, how, like, all your skills and stuff change. Like, see, now you've got, like, the Garuda Ruin. Oh, my God, it's so sick. Just cycling through all the different primals. And this future-proof, like, it's so 5-head from Square Enix, because this future-proof is proofs the class, too. Just like how Samurai doesn't really get changed that much in between expansions, because they've got it right. Why change it if no one's complaining how good it feels to play? They could literally just keep releasing more and more primals as additional summons, and call it a day, right? Next expansion, they give you, you know, Alexander or Bismarck or something, and say, there you go, Summoner, you're good to go. Animations look really nice, too. The old stone animations from White Mage moving over, I see. And I like how all the different runes and stuff, once you have a summon out, like, interact differently, too, right? Like, I think Ifrit has, like, a gap closer or something. Or, like, a melee. Like, your skills change based on your summon. Like, I don't know. This seems like the biggest updated class of the entire expansion, even with Sage and Reaper coming out. It's actually insane. And Summoner's always been that class that gets hoed in the expansions. They change them every expansion, and they're always bad. They're always bad. This is the first time where I saw Summoner, and I'm like, wow. You know, like, they've actually made them good. So, excited to see more of it. I want to see more. There's Phoenix. Phoenix coming out. Bahamut ready. All right. Ooh, Reaper. Reaper's weird. Reaper is like a mix of Dragoon and Machinist. Because they have like a bunch of, like, they have burst phases and stuff. I don't know how to feel about Reaper, to be honest. It's a class where I have to get my hands on and play it before, like, forming an opinion, you know? It seems simple. They see, like, you know, you got attacks that fill up your gauge. Spending that gauge gives you your other gauge. And then using that gauge, you go into your burst. It seems simple enough, you know? Like, it's one of those things where it's like if you try to explain it to someone, it looks confusing. But it looks simple enough. Crazy global cooldown. Look at that. Hopefully there's no, like, latency issues with this. Pretty cool. Paladin. Paladin, I think they kept pretty much the same, but they just gave them really cool, like, aesthetics. Because they're the face of the expansion, right? So, makes sense. That skill was always pretty cool. Passage of Arms. Instant cast clemency, baby. Let's go. Paladin's always been kind of like the carry tank. Like, if you have a bad group and you play Paladin, you can carry them through, like, bad, like, dungeons, raids, and stuff like that. Just because you can heal yourself and go offensive as well. Oh, it's so sick, dude. Look at this. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Holy. It's just so cool. All the budget went into Paladin animations. And yeah, there you go. Those are all the classes. I'm excited to play Endwalker. I'm ready to get back into the game. It's weird, like, taking a whole expansion off from a game and coming back into it, because it really does feel like you're behind significantly on everything. But I love expansion starts because everyone starts on this, like, a level playing field again. You know what I mean? We're all back to square one. Your old FF logs don't matter anymore. You're back to square one, and it's nice. It's just nice. Hopefully I can get in there. Hopefully the delay, you know, it's not delayed anymore or anything like that. I can get in there, start playing Samurai. Definitely going to play Sage. I haven't healed in, like, literally 2 years, but I'm down. Sage makes me want to heal again. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's pretty much my thoughts on the classes. Peace out. Till next time. More Final Fantasy XIV content coming in, like, 2 weeks. Hopefully soon. Copium.